making a little bag, and it's a really easy project. So let me just show you how big my fabric pieces are. I have 2 and they measure around 34 centimeters. It doesn't matter really. And I've gone across 25 centimeters. So that's how much fabric I had. To keep the straps little, because it's only a little bag for little jobs, I've kept the strap as long as the bag. Okay, so we've got 2 of those, 2 straps and 2 pieces. To make it easier for me, what I've got is an iron-on interfacing fabric. I've ironed it onto this wrong side so that it secures this fabric. It will help to prevent any fraying, and it will make the bag a little bit stronger. So that's really good. If you want to as well, you might want to make a pocket. So the easiest thing to do for a quick pocket is grab some of that iron-on interfacing, and it's a fabric, so it's a cotton fabric, not the typical iron-on interfacing. I'm going to press it onto the wrong side of this fabric. I'm not sure if there is a right or a wrong, and then I'm going to cut it out because I think this shape is perfect. Now I can have the pocket on the outside, or if I want to, I can have a pocket on the inside, but I'm going to put it near the top if I have a pocket in the inside so that I can easily reach it and put little things in there. So first thing we're going to do is just press this onto the wrong side of my pocket fabric. Okay, so that's pressed on now, so that's nicely stuck down. Now sometimes what happens is if you get wrinkles on the interfacing, it means that fabric might shrink, but we're not going to be washing this, so it doesn't matter. So if you get bubbles, it means that the fabric that you've ironed this onto is something that will shrink. Okay, so now I'm going to place my pocket on there. Now I want to make sure I make it a little bit bigger than my actual pocket, so I'm going to grab a ruler and something to draw with, and I'm going to draw an extra centimetre all around this. Now this is a good ruler because it's got lots of lines on there, and it will help me measure exactly a centimetre. That's half a centimetre, that's a full centimetre. So if I go outside my square a centimetre, like that. Careful not to move the paper. Match the lines up. There might be a bit of a squeeze on this side. Doesn't matter if it's too little. I think that goes right to the edge. Like that. Like that. And what I'm going to do is mark the corners like that, and if you want to add an extra little line there, you can do, because that will help you fold the fabric in exactly right. Okay, we're going to cut along this line. There we go. And then all we're going to do is fold that across. I'm going to press that down actually, so all the sides are folded onto the line like that. And now the top of a pocket can't be sewn onto the fabric because we need to put our hand in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew along this line here at the top so that it stays down, so that this edge stays in, and then I can pop things in there. I'm going to choose a stitch that's going to be a little bit more decorative. Now there's not a great selection on here, but why don't we just go for a zigzag? So we'll go with number 4. Make sure we stitch all the way across. Now, if we don't lock the stitches, they'll all come undone. So that's what this button's here for. Now, if I press that down, can you see when I let go, it comes back up? It's because there's a spring inside. You can hear that spring. Okay, so it's going to come back up. So what I have to do is I have to carefully press that down and manage my fabric at the same time, which means when I want to lock those stitches, my foot is on the pedal. I'm going to press gently on the pedal. I'm going to hold this down really hard and it will go backwards. So I've got my stitches. I need to lock those in. And then do you see how it went back and then forward? Okay, we're going to lock the stitches again. Press this down. Okay, let go. And then we're going to bring the needle all the way to the top, and we're going to make sure we bring it so that that hook is all the way at the top too. Okay, can you see that peeps up? Okay, lift up the press foot and we can take the fabric out. Cut that thread on the thread cutter and there we have it. So we did some reversing and you can see how it's doubled over there, and we've done some reversing. And if you practice, you'll get really neat. So you only need to do 3 or 4 stitches at either end. You don't need to do as many as I've done there. Let's snip the ends away. Before I move on to the next job, I'm going to make sure I'm ready with the correct stitch. I'm going to use number 10. Now we're going to place our pocket onto the inside, and we said about 9 centimeters, didn't we? So if I measure 9 centimeters from there, mark on the 9, and then there, mark again on the 9. You can sit this exactly in the middle. Now, it's not going to be in the middle that way, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this in half and get a fold. I'm going to press this in half and I'm going to get a fold, which means if I put this middle onto the middle of the bag there, that's going to sit exactly in the middle on both sides. Okay, now you can use pins if you want to. If you're worried about using pins, you can use some tape. Here's a little bit of tape you can use. Just pop that on there, and you can pop a little bit on the bottom as well. Okay, so that's going to hold it in place. If that helps you, then that's fine. Okay, we're going to go back to the machine and we're going to lock our stitches. We're going to go all the way around and lock our stitches at the top. All right, so slide that fabric in underneath the foot, and we're going to keep our fabric at the edge of the foot. I didn't with the top. I saw that I wavered a bit, but I'm going to try a little bit better this time. So I'm going to use a hand wheel and put the needle into the fabric. Okay, I'm going to go forward a few stitches. I'm going to do about 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to press the reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4. A bit. Does the stitches going back are actually smaller than the stitches going forward. Okay, we're going to go all the way down. Try and keep that foot along the edge of the fabric. Okay, when we get to the end, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our needle is sitting inside the fabric. Lift up the press foot and then you can twirl your fabric around really easily, and because your needle's in there, it's not going to move anywhere. Okay, let's press that down, so little bit towards there. Now you can remove the sellotape now, or if you want to, you can leave it, but it gets a bit messy when you've sewn, but we'll try leaving it in. Always hold your fabric along here at the end, never close to the needle. Oops. Okay, we're going to do the same thing at this corner. I'm going to put the needle down, lift up the press foot and swirl around. Go all the way to the end with the needle in. So if your needle didn't land inside like mine did, just make sure it does. And then we're going to press the reverse button. Press the reverse button and we're going to go back. Just for 4 stitches. And then bring our needle to the top. Make sure that hooks at the top, lift up, you press the foot and you can remove your fabric and then cut and swoop your thread around the cutter, and there you go. Oops. Okay, we're going to cut the threads. Make sure we haven't got any long threads. There we go. Alright, so on the good side you can't see. If you've chosen a matching thread, you can't see the stitching. It's good, isn't it? Alright, let's take those pins out because we don't need them anymore. Let's remove the tape because we don't need that anymore. You can use this tape again, so be careful, don't waste it. We can just stick it on the machine for when we want to use it again. But this one, because we've sewn, we've ended up with 2 pieces, which is quite helpful actually. There you go. So save all your pieces and you can use them again. Alright, so there's our pocket. So what should we do next? I think we need to add our straps. Okay, so what we're going to do, because we've got this special interfacing on, I don't need to do anything special with the edge of my fabric because it will hold, it won't fray. But if you don't do anything special like this, what you can do is do a zigzag. So the zigzag will help all the fabric not to fray. So here's some fabric. This is a really nice quality fabric, but it still frays, and what fraying is all the threads start to come away like that. So can you see how some of those threads have gone, and now we've just got this edge, fluffy edge. We call that fraying. So that's not good, and that will happen to your bag as you keep putting things inside your bag, books and whatnot. So you want to protect the edge of your fabric. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the zigzag on this machine. And we're going to come in close right to the needle, but we need to make sure, because this machine struggles to put fabric through, you have to make sure you've got plenty of fabric underneath the foot. So most of the foot is sitting on fabric, otherwise it doesn't work. So we're going to go all the way forward, and can you see I'm going to stay so close that you can see the fabric in the hole of the foot. Okay, needle to the top. and take that away. So even though that might fray, it won't fray too much because the zigzag is protecting the fabric from fraying. So we're going to do that to the other side as well. Okay, so lift that out, make sure your hook is all the way to the top and remove that. Right, so now we've got the tops done. What we're going to do now is we're going to fold it over. I'm not going to fold them over twice, and I'm going to zigzag a strap on there. Now, how far do we do this? Well, we can measure it, fold the fabric in half, press that down, fold that fabric again. It doesn't matter about all the way to the bottom. We just really want to get this, is grab my pen and I'm going to mark like that. So you can see a mark on both sides. Okay. Like that. So when I fold this over, I know exactly where I want my strap to be. Tuck that right into the fold like that. I can do the same on this side. There we go. So I'm going to press this down, and to make sure I've got the same place marking on the other side, flip that over, make sure this other side of the bag is sitting perfectly on top. Grab my pen and mark it. Mark. There we go. All right, let's just fold that over about 3 centimeters, I think, 2.5 to 3 centimeters. All right, so we're going to place our strap in here now. So just place that in there. And if you want, again, you can use your tape. And then you've got to make sure you keep your strap the same. Okay, so it's all facing the same way. And then just tuck it in to the other side. Like that. Okay, I'm going to put some tape on there as well. Tape's got a bit wrinkly. There we go. Okay, and we're going to sew all along there. And then if you want to, I would suggest you sew along the top of that strap as well to keep it secure. We're going back. We're going back on a straight stitch. Number 10 is great. And we're going to lock our stitches, so that means we're going to have to press that down. So position your fabric so that this edge is sitting on this side of the foot. Okay. And what we can do actually is we can go to stitch 11 so that the needle is across that way. I'm going to lock the stitches, so go back and keep going forward again. Just watch out for this strap. Make sure it sits nice and straight. Up to the next strap. And we've come to the edge of the fabric, so we're going to lock that stitch. And then bring the needle back up with the hook to the top, and then we can remove our fabric. Okay, let's press it, sew this down. So we're going to sew the strap down. We're going to put the fabric along this side of the edge of the fabric so that we can imagine where the edge of the bag is. I'm going to lock those stitches, so make sure we're on our strap. There we go. Right, now you have your two sides, you've got your straps, and you've got your pocket. All that's left is to sew the sides down. And then if you want to, you can do a zigzag all the way around so it doesn't fray. So we can pop a couple of pins in the middle. You don't need to put them around the edge, that's not necessary. You just want everything to be held in place. And then you've not got to worry about moving pins, taking them out or anything like that, and everything is held perfectly in place. Can you see that? So that's fine. Okay, so if you do that little test, and if things move, then add a couple more pins. Let's grab the sewing machine again. Now we're going to go back to 10. Now if you want if you like the fine stitching of the 11, because 10 is quite big, you can go to 9. 9 and 11 are the same. So we'll stick with 9, but it just means the needle is sitting in the middle, which is better for us when we're doing these stitches. Okay, so we're going to start at the top, make sure it matches up, make sure our straps are out of the way so we don't accidentally sew them down. with our sides together. Now, if you're worried about your fabric moving, you can use one of these. It's called a magnet, and it helps to guide your seam. So it's a seam guide magnet. Okay, let's lock those stitches. Go back. So that's locked. Let's go all the way around. Get to the corner, we're going to make sure our needle's all the way down. Lift up your press foot so you can swing your fabric around, and you'll know if you've got the right amount there. If you've not got enough, then go back. If you've got too much, go one more stitch. So you see, I could probably fit one more stitch in there. So I'll do that by hand so I don't make a mistake. Lift up the press foot, go around, and that's perfect. Press foot down. So needle in, lift up the press foot, swing around, and we've got it perfect this time. Lock those stitches. And then just make sure your needle is all the way to the top, and you can release that fabric. There we go. Let's take those pins out. And that's our bag made. Okay, so we're going to do a zigzag all the way around so that we prevent any frays, but that also means we've got a double stitch on there so we never accidentally get a hole in our bag, so it will help it a bit more. It's back to stitch 4, and let's make sure our threads are at the back edge.